Good. Welcome to the Level Up and Laugh podcast, where we get just a little silly with personal development. That's okay. I'm your host, Nate Bright, trainer, coach, and recovering people pleaser.
Hello, and I am your co-host, Andrea Rice. I'm a single mom, Reiki master with a degree in psychology and a passion for all things spiritual.
Hey, a little bit of woo-woo. Andrea, we have such a good show today, and I know you saw the notes, but if it's okay, do you need me to change this to anything else? Because we don't have to do this. We can do whatever you want to do.
Nate, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's great.
Okay, that's good. That was a close one because today's topic is people-pleasing and how it will impact the quality of your life. Andrea, have you ever known anybody who was just annoying as I was during that intro?
I myself am a recovering people pleaser as well. In fact, it's something that I'm currently working on and I've struggled with for a long time. I know in my past, I have recently taken on a lot of tasks for a friend of mine because I want to help and be of service, and it actually has been a detriment to my own goals and passions. So I think sometimes it's something we struggle with and can get carried away with. And so, yeah, I'm happy that we're talking about it today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a recovering people pleaser myself. I occasionally have relapses still. It's been 90 days without an incident, though, so I feel like I need like a chip, like a sobriety chip or something, just given my one. But my first memory of people pleasing was in the 6th grade. And I was in gym class and I was an athlete. I was going up and down the rope. I was doing all, I was the dodgeball champion, all that great stuff. And somebody came across from the other side of the gym and said, Patty liked me. Patty was a girl I didn't really know, right? And wasn't somebody I really, even really wanted to know. But they're like, Patty likes you. Do you want to go out with Patty? That's what we used to say back then. You want to go out with Patty? And I'm like, sure. Why not? I didn't like Patty. Patty, look, you are fine. You are magnificent in your own way, but I didn't want to date you. I was in 6th grade living my best life. And so all of a sudden this kid goes away. And then all of a sudden in the next like 30 minutes, kid after kid were coming up. Oh, are you and Patty going out? You Patty going out? And it wasn't until I saw Patty walking slowly across the gym, and I was hoping, of all hope, that a dodgeball would fly in, hit her in the face, and take her out. But it didn't. She came all the way up to me and asked me if we were going out. I was like, heck no, I would never go out with you. And she ran away crying, and I never talked to Patty again. So that is a terrible instance, how the decision not to say no right away until the pressure was on kind of hurt Patty. And I will never, ever live that down. My bad, Patty. My bad.
Wow, your people-pleasing goes way back, Nate.
I'm like a people-pleasing OG. What? All right. So are you ready, Andrea? I'm going to ask you some questions. And you have to answer people-pleasing trivia. What do you think?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. People pleasers spend up to blank hours a day on tasks for others. You just talked about this. How many hours a day do people pleasers spend on other people's stuff?
8.
8. Not quite that bad. 3 hours is what they say, right? And I would actually extend the idea of people pleasing to doing anything you don't want to do. But 3, 3 is the answer. I think it's probably closer to what you said, Andrea, but we'll go with 3.
I do too, because unless I'm just like an extreme people pleaser, like maybe I'm the outlier, right? Like, everything I do in life is people pleasing.
Andrea, I'm going to need you to make me a sandwich, okay?
Okay, I'm right on it. What would you like on that sandwich, Nate?
Desperation. Thanks. All right, here's the next one. People pleasers have a blank percentage lower rate of personal goal achievement. What percentage lower rate?
50%.
What?
Yeah.
Nailed it. 50%. Yes. Like right on the nose. It's like you've been through this or whatever. Percentage of lower personal, because you're not working on your goals. You're working on everybody else's goals. Yeah. Andrea, the next trivia question is this. People pleasers have a blank percentage higher risk of burnout.
Say 50%.
That's close. It's actually 40%. And somebody once told me that burnout wasn't necessarily having too much to do. It's not having enough time to do the things you want to do. So if you're a people pleaser and you're working on everybody else's schedule, doing what people want you to do, you're at an incredibly high risk for burnout. And last one, people pleasers spend what percentage more time on social media seeking validation?
20.
It's 50%. Does that surprise you that it's as high as 50% more?
Yeah, that's a little surprising, but because I feel like they should be so busy doing stuff that they don't have time to be on social media.
They spend every other moment of their time, their toilet time, I guess, just trying to get those. I bet you likes, that little thumbs up button is like catnip for people pleasers.
Yeah. Give me another hit.
Hook it up. So we've clearly identified that people pleasing is a problem. But we don't like to just point out the problems here at the Level Up and Laugh podcast. We want to give you effective solutions that you can implement to make it all go away. What do you think? Get any words of wisdom, Andrea?
I do. I actually have been taking a positive intelligence course, and it's a 6-week course. And week 4 focuses on people pleasing. And here's some things that I learned that I think are really interesting and would like to pass along to those of you listening. So when you are a people pleaser, you tend to give and give and give to these people in your life, right? And you're doing that because you want something in return. You either want their attention, you want their affection, you want their approval. Like you're doing it to get something in return. However, people pleasing actually will do the opposite of what you're trying to get. So when you're a people pleaser, that person that you're doing all this for actually subconsciously views you as less trustworthy. So for some, even though you're providing all of this for them, you're trying to be that rock for them, that guidepost, they actually feel that you are somehow untrustworthy because why would you be giving? And the other end of that is
searching back in the archives.
The other end of that is that they view you as someone who doesn't have needs of your own. Right? How do you have needs when you're so capable of giving and giving and giving? Obviously, you don't have any needs of your own, so you never get poured back into by those people because they don't view you as someone who needs pouring into. So you're left feeling very depleted. So there are a couple of things that you can do to help recognize this, that you're doing it, and to stop it. So one of the things that you can do is think back and visualize kind of a little mini meditation about a time when you were asked to do something and you did it because your, instinct is to be a people pleaser. So you think back to this instance, and instead of going forward and carrying through with doing whatever tasks or whatever it is that you ended up doing, think back and saying, no, I respect you, I love you, whatever, but that's not something I'm going to be able to do. And by going back and visualizing a time when you did lean into people pleasing and going back and correcting it in your subconscious, then you're more likely the next time it comes up in a situation to stop yourself then, right? To stop right before it even starts. You were saying that earlier, right? Something to the effect of saying no now prevents a lot of no's.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That mirrors a lot of what I've heard as well. And honestly, when it comes down to people pleasing, again, struggling with this early a lot, struggling with it a little bit now, comes down to one of those things where there were years that I never asked what I wanted. It wasn't about what I wanted. It was about what other people wanted. And it's kind of a dangerous place. You're kind of like a boat without a rudder, right? You're just kind of floating around, just going with the tide. And you end up at the end of a life like that with kind of wasted potential because you were put here by whatever you believe in order to do a specific task. You have something planted in you. Everybody's got something planted in them that's specific to their talents, to their gifts, to their leanings and all that great stuff. But like, if you never actually ask yourself what you want, your inner desire, and kind of go that direction, it's really it's wasted art in the world. Like, nobody will ever see what you have to produce because you're so busy producing something for somebody else. So it's like one of those things when I think about that, I like a couple of things that sound very similar to yours is that you can't prioritize what you want until you're clear what that is. So the end of people pleasing is kind of the beginning of pursuing your dreams. And so that's the first step. You have to have a big enough why, big enough dream to chase after, to go after, that you're like, it's not that I'm saying no to you because I hate you and I really don't want to do this. I would love to help you out, but I've got priorities that I'm aiming at myself. And if you never stop to ask yourself that, woo, you're in trouble.
Mate, I feel like you're really helping me with my people-pleasing journey. Like, that really speaks to me.
Yeah. So there was a person named Derek Sivers who founded Zappos. And he had this one line that I absolutely loved, and it said, if it's not a hell yeah, it's a no. And yeah, that's hard to really execute on when you have your boss and your boss's boss, everybody asking you to do things. It's hard to say no to that, but you can certainly exercise that when you're given a new opportunity for a new job, or if you're given an opportunity to go, chase a new passion or like try something out. You only have but so many minutes in your day. And so for every yes you say, like you said earlier, you have to say no to 3 to 5 things in the future. So to be crystal clear what you're aiming at is a big part of that. And another big part is practice saying no in low stakes situations. Don't have the first time you say no be to your boss, to a non-negotiable thing you have to do. Practice that it's, like it's a muscle you got to build like anything else. So when they ask you to supersize at McDonald's, be like, no, and just be really aggressive in the face. I think that's the only reasonable, logical way to kind of start that off very small and then move your way up. It's actually great to do that if you have kids. Oh, there's 100 reasons to say no to them. And so that's one way you can look at it. Certainly your parenting has really good practice for that.
Yeah, they can be your practice people.
Luna. All right, guys, now it's time for our meme review. Let's look at some really good people-pleasing memes to see if we can relate. What do you think, Andrea?
Let's do it.
All right. When your stylist screws up your hair, but you're a people pleaser and hate hurting anybody's feelings. This hits me so deep right now. This just happened last week. This lady massacred. Well, the good thing with hair is it grows back, especially mine. But like, they massacred it so hard. And I tell you what, I have never given an honest answer when they ask, so what do you think? They either style it goofy or they cut it weird or whatever, and then it grows in a couple of days later. It looks fine. But man, I'm like sucking on my teeth a little bit. Yeah, that's bad. That was a bad one. How about you?
I hate getting my hair cut. Like, it's because I will just like smile like, oh yeah, it's fine, and then go in my car and cry.
Oh, have you cried from a haircut?
Oh, yes, many times. Yes.
Is that a normal female reaction?
Yes, I think so.
I think I've laughed very hard, but I've never cried.
Someone once told me, do you know the difference between a good haircut and a great haircut?
What?
2 weeks. There's some truth in that, though, right?
Like, I think for guys who keep their hair short, it's more like 4 days. Then it grows in a little bit. Okay. It's rough. There's the next one. The many faces of a people pleaser. You said earlier, and I love this, about like there is a lack of trust tied in with people pleasers. Like, you can't trust them. And it's funny because with their face sometimes you can see it. Like, their mouth will smile. Like, from the nose down, they're lying to you. And from the nose up, their eyes can't lie. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's true, because I think for me personally, like, I tend to like get deep into some stuff that like in the beginning, it's like, yeah, let me do this. I'll do that. Sure. And then like a month later, you're like, this is way more time and commitment than I thought, and it's too late to back out. I'm just going to keep on this people pleasing train, you know?
What you say yes once, it's a slippery slope. Yeah.
Learn to say no up front.
Yes, yes. And this lady is got crazy eyes, which I feel like I have some. Here's the next one, a good old Simpsons meme. So you have Bart Simpson labeled someone who wouldn't do the same for me. And then there's me putting on a Band-Aid.
That punches me in the gut.
Be like, this isn't even funny. This is sad.
Like, this is kind of like mean and hurtful. Like I need to talk to my therapist after this.
I mean, meme kind of sounds a little bit like mean, so maybe there's something to that. But I've 100% been there. Okay. It's like, woo. Here's our next meme, and it's a tweet. It simply says, me trying to ask somebody for a favor. Hey, could you help me with this thing? Absolutely no pressure, though. Totally okay if you can't. If you'd rather run me over with a car, that's cool. Are you mad at me? Like, that escalated very quickly, didn't it?
Yes. But do you want to know the number of times I've asked people if they were mad at me? Like,
you've asked me twice today. It's good.
And he's furious, just so you know.
Furious. Dude, that's it. And then, like, you go from asking for a favor, but begging for forgiveness without even giving them the chance to answer. Like, if you would just ask for what you want and be okay with about 10 seconds of silence, you will be floored on what you could get.
Most people are going to say yes, because I think most people are people pleasers.
Yes, absolutely. We could totally take advantage of everybody around here. That's the secret weapon of this whole show.
Like, we're going to cure ourselves with people pleasing, but don't let the secret out. So
we're going to be total monsters. That's it. It's time for the Believo-meter. The one question that everything rides on. Okay, the most important question you'll get all day, Andrea, is this question right here. You ready?
I'm ready.
It's a weird one, but kind of follow me on this one. You have to rank it between 1, don't believe it all, and 5, totally buy in. Okay, ready? The question for you is for your average person, 75% of their everyday activities could be categorized as people pleasing. 4. So you pretty believe that. Okay. Why?
Because looking at my daily life as a parent, an employee, I feel most of what I do in a day is for someone else's happiness or goals, or it's really for them, not for me.
Yeah. That's the saddest thing I'll ever hear. No, but I think that's average. That is 100% what people go through. That your average person, 75% of their life is lived for other people, right? And that's tied in with the job they have. Like, are you really wanting to clean those toilets? Like, it's great, but it's paying for your lifestyle. It's paying for all these things. So you say yes to 100 things at work, but it's not things you want. So if you're not working in your passion, if you're not moving forward with all that stuff, maybe you are people pleasing, but you're being benefited by a paycheck. And that's important. It's really hard not to be a parent and not to be a people pleaser at the same time, especially when they're young and they're loud and they're irrational. These kids, you would not tolerate a grown adult in your life that treated you like your 4-year-old or 3-year-old treated you. Not at all. That's it. They get sweet after that, I feel like. But like, 2, 3, woo, that's a rough one. So there was something, and when you think about like having to earn a paycheck and sign over a lot of what you want to do for other people or in your relationship or as parenting, I think it does fall into 75% of that. But there was a really good thing that I'm going to tie in very loosely, but it was an author named Arthur Brooks. It works out. And he had an equation for satisfaction. And the equation for satisfaction is you have to take what you have and divide it by what you want. So what you have at the top versus what you want. So people think they get more satisfied when they have more at the top. But if this bottom, what you want, there is infinite number of things that you could want in this life. And there's a finite amount of what you can actually get. I know that's probably not the secret. It's probably the opposite of the secret, right? But, there's only but so much you could get. You could spend through money. It's almost like trying to work out a bad diet. The easier way is to actually want less, to have less desires and be content with less. And you can find satisfaction through that very easily. Now, we live in a world where they're like, you need to, reach for the stars and do whatever you want. You can have anything and everything you want at any given time. And yes, you can. I completely believe in that. But if you can be content with less, you can find yourself satisfied more. That may be a hot take. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right, cool.
I mean, isn't that the whole Buddhist belief that get rid of desire and expectation and you'll lead a much happier life?
Yeah, I'm sure. And the way that ties back to the question is that if you want less, you have to support that lifestyle at a lesser amount, which means you buy back more your time and more your autonomy. I put so much into autonomy, and autonomy means you can work on your own stuff and you don't have to please others to like finance a lifestyle that is meant to like please. So it's like not meant to impress, but it's also meant to please other people. The car you drive, the clothes you wear, the house you live in, all that stuff. It all ties into if you want less and you're content with less, you can have more. You can get anything you want, but you'll be satisfied more.
I agree. So you would give it a what? I didn't believe in me.
Did I not say it? 5. It's going to get a hot take 5 on that one. I'm going to give it a 5 because I really feel like the majority of everything we do is for everybody else. And there's a few amount of people, I wouldn't put myself in this category either yet. A few amount of people who purely live their own path and like 100% walk their own path. You're never going to get to 100%, but at least you can move that ratio away from 75.
And I think, when you look at it, you do respect people who do say no in a kind, and because they're like, hey, that's not not to their benefit, right? There's a difference between being kind and compassionate and doing things out of, selflessness. But there's another thing. People pleasing is more when you're hurting your own growth and potential, right? And I think that's where the real issue comes into play. And I've experienced a lot of that. And I'm working on. I think we should do a follow-up episode and be like, oh, have you been able to limit your people pleasing?
Yeah. How about we do a challenge where we just yell at people? Yeah. We just yell at people. Like, no. You're the worst. Well, that's going to be our show for today. Okay, so we're going to call it a day. We're going to come back and like look at the same subject later on because you've got a sandwich to make, Andrea.
I know.
Wait, I just gave you an opportunity to say no. Oh my goodness.
I'm still working. That's why we need to come back in 6 months and see if I recovered.
100%. All right, you guys take it easy. We will catch you next time on the next episode of the Level Up and Laugh podcast.